I want to talk about Perkins, though, here, and I
All right,
think
let's
that
go there.
these two are going to be interrelated for the next couple of years until Anthony Hill is drafted, because very similar trajectory. Originally both
Why
used
do
as
I feel
just,
like they're completely different players?
but they're not, though. They're both really good athletes that were just asked to rush off the edge. And
Anthony Hill cannot do what Harold Perkins did last year. He can't, not even remotely close.
what, in what way? How can he not? They're both equally as good athletes.
You really think that Anthony Hill can go down the middle third of the, hold on. Do you really think that Anthony Hill can go down the middle third of the field and play safety because a dude misses a coverage and your guy reads that a coverage was missed and go down, by the way, against Missouri, a 10-win football, 11-win football team, and get an interception to seal the game?
I think that he's athletic enough to cover ground like that. He's also bigger than Harold Perkins.
Okay, that's my point. Harold is not the. I agree with what you're saying in reference to both of them are very agile at rushing the passer. When it comes to the complete package of Harold Perkins, they are not remotely the same. Joe, let's call it what it is. On paper, Harold Perkins was a big safety last year because Matt House had no idea how to utilize him, and they got away from him at linebacker because they got scared and because they got beat against Florida State. Blake Baker comes in, and he's doing better defending the run. Well, it's interesting what coaching would do. Here's the thing with me about Harold. Well, actually, continue on Harold Perkins. I just wanted to make that point. They're not the same in my eyes, but continue.
All I wanted to bring up, though, with this, and he's still my number one. He's my number one linebacker. He is not the most productive on this list, but the most athletic of the guys that we've talked about that are on these lists. And he's got a lot of proven highlight plays and some takeover moments in some games. But I don't think that it's unjust to bring up that there should be skepticism for what he does this year, because he's never played this just true off-ball linebacker role. I have faith that he is going to have a good season because Blake Baker's a good DC and he is a tremendous athlete with great instincts. But all I'm saying is that we should be a little careful. This isn't one of those first overall selections where I think that we should just look at it and throw it up on the board and turn our heads and not even question it. Like, I think that there should be a little bit of skepticism, just a tiny bit.
No, I'm not. I don't disagree with that. Let me ask you this question. Okay. If I told you that Harold Perkins had the same exact stats and the same number of games from a freshman to a sophomore, what would you say? Same exact stats across the board. Wait, you would probably tell me that that's not true, correct?
Yeah, I probably would.
Joe, in year one, he had 72 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, 1 interception. Last year, he had 75 tackles, 13 tackles for loss. He had 5.5 sacks, 1 interception. The only thing that we're taking away is two sacks, but he also played in one other game and as a freshman than he did as a sophomore. Let me tell you why I bring that up. I think 4 things, okay, were going against Harold Perkins. Number 1, his defensive coordinator sucked ass. Okay. Number 2, his D-line, which we have talked about religiously on this show because it's been so public with Brian Kelly and his comments. Joe, if you have that bad of a defensive line and bad of defensive line play, that's going to affect you being a linebacker. Yes. Bottom line. Yes. Okay. Yes. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to him in a lot of ways that dudes are getting pushed into his lap. I really don't. Number 3, he's a tweener, okay? And when he gets caught in the running game, he gets caught, okay? The issue with that is when he doesn't get caught, excuse my language, he's going to fuck you up, okay? And I think that those 3 things, 4 would just be that you got to be very versatile with him. But the top 3 things are what make him, in my opinion, elite. If you put him in the right positions and you put him in positions to succeed, as we saw him as a freshman, he's going to absolutely go off. The problem, I think that what happened with Harold Perkins last year is because LSU's defense sucked so bad, he was lumped into that. Joe, the production's the exact same. The exact same. So I look at him and say, how can you tell me from 1 year to the next that he has the same production and, he took a step back? Okay, maybe it's getting after the quarterback. He also didn't have as many rushes from 1 year to the next. The truth was he had a third of the less rushes last year than he did as a freshman, but he was more effective at getting to the quarterback. I understand what you're saying, and I understand some of the things that people will say about him being a tweener and all these kind of things. But when you're talking about this position, he is the best athlete of anybody that we can put on this list, bar none.
Well, so this is in line with my point, though. I'm comfortable putting him at number 1 because he is potentially the most naturally just gifted football player in college football, because you're talking about true freshman, still learning how to play at the college level,
Never
still
played
finds
defense.
way to be productive. And then in his sophomore year is misused, not really having a coherent plan on a week-to-week basis, still finds ways to make plays. But you said the word tweener, and I think that is where the skepticism comes into play. And again, to reiterate before anyone jumps in the comments on the clip or in the live of me saying I'm a hater or I'm an asshole.
Your ass.
Right. This is not a Jane Daniels situation. I'm not trying to be negative. The tweener aspect of it is something that plagues linebackers and safeties specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, a jack of all trades is very good in a lot of categories and not elite in one. I almost will covet a defensive player who shines in one particular area and is really good in another compared to one who is just really strong in everything that they do. And I just get a little worried because he has been dragged and pulled in so many different directions and has been thrown in so many different ways of playing just defense. He didn't really have a role.
That's not on him, though.
I know that it's not on him, but it needs to be brought up in the conversation that it impacts how he could play this year.
Control what you can control. I mean, look, here's the truth. Considering the fact that he was this productive with that bad of a defense around him, I think it shows how good he is. Like, I really do.
Okay.
Think about this. Joe, I mean, again, you're talking about one of the worst defenses. Actually, let's just call it what it is. The worst defense in LSU's history. What is LSU really known for? They're known for having just absolute Thanos, Tarzan-looking dudes that walk up. Look at Will Campbell, right? Like, look at Will Campbell. Will Campbell's back is literally the size of the state of Louisiana. Okay, like he's a massive human being.
Mm-hmm.
They were known for being tough, physical defensively. Look at what they did with Tyrann Mathieu. So they were known for being tough defensively. The problem is that everybody around him crumbled. Okay, and I think that had an effect that he tried to do too much. And I'm going to tell you, here's my hot take. You ready? The first time I'm ever going to say this on the show or on any show, I truly believe this. I think that he's going to be, if LSU has success more than anybody on this roster, he gets Heisman recognition and no one on the offense does. Can I tell you why?
He's not getting the Heisman recognition.
Can I tell you why?
Why?
I said conversation, not because I think LSU is going to run the ball and kill the clock, and I think that his stats are going to explode. And I think Blake Baker is going to get to him.
All right, you lost me on the Heisman.
Okay, that's fine.
But
listen to your boy. Listen to your boy on this one. Don't do it. I swear to God, Joe, I will give you the money to place a bet that he's an All-American.
This one,
keep all the monies.
Defensive players don't win the Heisman, so I'm not going to sit here. Look, I know I got caught with my pants down with the Jane Daniels shit. Like, I know I got completely. I'm wearing the damn hat because I got completely cooked for saying what I did.
All right,
he's not going to be on the radar. Just like Tavondre Sweat shouldn't have ever been on the.
Radar. That's That's very fair. That's a very good comparison. It's a big if. It's going to be the same thing with Texas. The same thing with what they were pushing. LSU fans will push, because the only reason that Sweat had a Heisman run was literally because Texas was pushing it. Last thing on Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if you see a little bit of him lining up at running back.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that's stupid.
I don't think it is.
Why would you get the kid? Okay, running back is a position.
A fat man that has a blood pressure of 170 over 130.
They shouldn't be doing it either. It's funny, but he shouldn't be doing it either.
It's funny because he's fat. You hate fat people?
Your best.
You hate fat people. That's what you're saying.
Best player should not be playing a position that results in the highest injury rate out of any position. Maybe put him out
Travis Hunter?
He's playing receiver.
Which is
he's out there receiver.
Which is literally the second.
Running back is a position that gets a ton of contact. I am praying that he doesn't play running back. I am praying that he doesn't play running back. I would have a stroke if I was an LSU fan and I watched that man take a handoff.
No, they want it. No, they want it. So it's okay when a fat man gets the ball. It's not okay when a
they're 300 pounds. It's a lot harder for a 300-pounder with one yard to go.
Hey, who won Super Bowls throwing touchdowns to linebackers?
I'm talking about Tom Brady and Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel was 6'4", 260 pounds. How big's Harold Perkins?
And he was white.
That doesn't have anything to do with it. Harold Perkins is tiny compared to Mike Vrabel. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.